Alright, everyone. I'm just now going to be doing my round 23 2019 and the AFL ladder weekends fixtures review. Starting off on Friday night, the 23rd of August. Collingwood versus Essendon. Collingwood won 76-65. Going into this, Collingwood were sitting in 5th and the Bombers were sitting in 7th, but they'd secured their top 8 finish, but they hadn't secured the 7th spot. But they were beat, and that drops them down to 8th. True Blue 72. How's it going, you mate? Are you alright? So, as I said, Collingwood were 5th. They've jumped into 4th with this victory. That's 3 wins in a row now for Collingwood, and I know we're going into finals footy. Form doesn't really mean anything. Basically, there's going to be a week out now, so any form or momentum you've had, you'd be raging that there's a break now. How's it going, everyone? It's been a while. I know I wasn't feeling up to it over the weekend. I wasn't that great. I was feeling a wee bit sick, so I never get doing anything. Over the Sunday, I usually do my live stream, so I'm going to bring you the live stream now. Hopefully you'll enjoy it, even though you know everything that's happened. You have probably seen all the highlights and stuff like that as well, so apologies that it's late, but I hope you enjoy me going through it anyway, and we'll talk finals week 1 as well, alright? So anyway, I'll just go through it because there's no point in me going through it in great detail. You all know it now. It's a little bit later than usual. On a Sunday, I can put a wee bit more depth into it, but because it's now Tuesday, I'm going to be repeating everything you already know too much. So Collingwood won 76-65 against Essendon. That jumps Collingwood into 4th. Bombers are now down in 8th. It was at the MCG. Nobody really had home advantage there. They're both very familiar with the surroundings. Although Collingwood were the home team. So into Saturday anyway then, 15th place Swans versus 14th place St Kilda. I put the Swans down for victory. That's exactly what happened. They won 109-64. St Kilda finishing 14th. Swans finishing 15th. Good game of footy actually. Quite enjoyed it. Buddy Franklin was back. A couple of players made their last, that was their last game ever in a Swans top. So quite emotional for them, but as I say, Buddy Franklin back from injury. I think he scored 4 or 5 goals as well, so fine form he was in finishing the season as well, so good for him. North Melbourne then against Melbourne at the Blundstone Arena. North were 12th going into this and Melbourne were 17th. That's exactly how they remained after the game. North won 88-83. Wasn't much between the two sides on the day. As I say though, both finish in the same place in the ladder. Not that it matters now, just overall, there's the ladder in the background. It's kind of fell there. So there's the ladder. I don't know if you can make it out very well, but anyway, that's how it finished. Obviously, the only thing that matters from this point on is the top 8. So, Geelong Cats versus Carlton. The Cats had a chance to go top of the ladder before the finals, and that's exactly what happened. I predicted a Cats win. I just didn't predict how much of a win it was going to be. They absolutely slapped Carlton. Although somebody says to me on Facebook, I think it wasn't a gubbin. We had as many chances as they did. Complete denial. It was an absolute rollover. Geelong absolutely smashed Carlton. I give Carlton a lot of credit when credit's due, but you've got to be honest with yourself. This was an absolute hammering on Saturday. 129-61, more than doubled the scoreline, but we had the same amount of chances. Come on, mate, get a grip. So the Cats went into 1st, and Carlton finished the season in 16th. It was at home for Geelong. So, as I said, I predicted the win, and it was a very, very convincing win. Suns versus the Giants. Predicted a Giants win. Suns are obviously staying in 18th, and the Giants were 6th going into this. They finished in 6th, and I predicted an easy victory, and everybody probably predicted an easy victory, and that's exactly what it was. 127-55. We're not going to go into too much detail on that. Bread and butter victory. Easy victory. Suns, you're expecting over 100, maybe over 110. They got 127. Good day out. You'll need a bra now, mate. West Coast, we're on to that now. Saturday's last game on Saturday then. the West Coast Eagles. And I predicted a West Coast Eagles win. Going into it, they had obviously lost, but they'd won the 4 before that. Do I like NRL? I don't really know too much about it. I've not really covered it on my sport channel either, but I'll probably do some on the sport channel. Thanks, mate. Against the Hawks. Anyway, West Coast Eagles against the Hawks. Hawks were 9th. They needed a win to try and get themselves into the 8th spot and hope for results elsewhere to try and guarantee the top 8 finish. Well, they did get the win, and they got the win in absolutely monumental fashion. 67-105 to the Hawks. Nobody saw that kind of scoreline coming. It was a home tie for the West Coast Eagles as well, but they got absolutely slapped, didn't they, really, if you think about it? Huge loss. That dropped the West Coast from 3rd to 5th. That's 2 losses in a row going into finals. I know I says momentum doesn't really matter in knockout football, but you would rather momentum was on your side than against you. And that's exactly what's happening to them now. Going into the finals now with 2 defeats. So, on a Sunday, this was the one that really mattered for seeing who was going to finish in the top 8, was Bulldogs and the Crows. If the Crows did it and the Power did it was going to come down to percentages, wasn't it, between the Bulldogs, the Crows, the Hawks and the Power. But if the Bulldogs win, all of that stuff goes out the window and the Bulldogs go through automatic. Oh, they went and smashed them, the Bulldogs. They smashed the Crows 121-87th. Although in the last quarter, I think they let the Crows get about 4 or 5 goals, which was, they just kind of, I wouldn't say the Bulldogs gave up, but they just rested off where they should have just kept going and going for the jugular because they'd absolutely hammered them before that. And they should have just finished it in the form that they had played the full match in. 121-87 though, fantastic result. And that sees them going into finals now with 3 straight victories. So, as I said, you would rather momentum was on your side than against you. And it is on the Bulldogs side. But the last 3 games that they've won in, they've scored over 120 points, I think. They're absolutely flying right now. And as I've been saying, you do not want to write the Bulldogs off. They're a team that even when they get beat, they play well. So really not going to be easy opponents. Bearing in mind, I'll tell you the opponent they're going to be facing in finals week and what had happened the last time these 2 teams met. So it really is theirs to take. So Richmond Lions anyway, the biggest game of the weekend. 4th place Richmond against top place Lions. Both teams were going in with straight wins. Somebody had to lose, or maybe if it was a draw, nobody loses. But if there was going to be a victor, there was of course going to be a loser. So that winning streak was always going to come to an end for one of the sides. Richmond were going in with 8 straight wins. The Lions were going in with 9 straight wins. I predicted a Richmond win. It was at the MCG, which has been favourable to say the least. There is only I'll definitely mention that as well. There is only one game that matters this weekend. Absolutely enormous, and we're going to do it, mate. I just know we are. I've got a funny feeling we're going to do it, and I think we're going to get through the Europa tie as well on Thursday. So looking forward to both those games. Huge games for the club. So as I said, I predicted a Richmond win, 82-55 to Richmond. Thoroughly deserved the win on the day. They didn't really get playing the game throughout the way I've seen them playing, and I think that was down to the way the Lions play. The Lions are a strong side. You're not going to have it all your own way against the Lions, and Richmond certainly didn't, but they found a way to win, and I think that's just it. They have the experience and the class throughout to go out and win that game of footy, and that's what they did. They finished 3rd and the Lions finished 2nd. So on to the last game of the ladder before the finals between the Power and the Dockers. I predicted a Power win. The Power in 11th, the Dockers were in 13th. The Dockers stay in 13th. They've lost this game at the Adelaide Oval. The Power went out and got a really good convincing scoreline, 110-67, which jumped them from 11th place to 10th. So congratulations for all the teams that won and lost. And this is how the ladder finished. So everything below Essendon right now does not matter. Thanks very much for participating, but you no longer matter. Now we're into finals. And this is how it fares up. There's no footy this week. It's next week. Next week is finals footy, right? For everyone in Australia will know far better than I. But also, there is people here from Scotland, you and my mate, Scottish lad. This will help. Finals week 1 then. Thursday the 5th of September is the first game of finals week 1. West Coast Eagles versus Essendon Bombers. Hi Leanne, hi everyone that's joined. Oh Dave mate, thanks very much. Thanks very much mate for the donation. Really appreciate it. Thanks lad. So your team, West Coast Eagles, versus Essendon at the Optus. Let me know what you think is going to happen here. I've not done my predictions yet because I'm going to leave it nearer the time. Obviously that's a Thursday, so I'll probably try and do my predictions on Wednesday the 4th of September, the day before. The reason why I'm not going to do them just yet is because West Coast victory, yeah. Thursday the 5th of September. So the reason why I haven't done it is what I said, because injuries and stuff like that there are just certain things that could happen between now and then. We've got about a week and a half, well, a week and a couple of days now really, isn't it? Before that, so a lot can change in terms of player selections and players available for these games. And players coming back to fitness, of course, is the Jaden Stevenson thing. He's now eligible to play again, which is huge for Collingwood. So anyway, as I said, form doesn't really matter, but if you want me to tell you the form, lost, 1-1-1. So 3 wins out of 5 for the West Coast Eagles going into this. And Essendon lost 1, lost 1. See a couple of things going on in the banter there. Peter George just putting things straight. I got sent this in a parcel from one of the subscribers, one of the friends of the channel has sent me a parcel in the post which contained this and this. I've also got Frio Dockers there. So I've got some merchandise sent to me from clubs playing in the AFL. Greatly appreciated gifts. There's other stuff coming as well from other teams, so they'll be sporting in the background as well. So thanks very much. This t-shirt though, I don't know what teams you all support, but I think it's absolutely stunning. I think it's a class t-shirt. Love it. Really, really good quality. Of course, the current t-shirt of the Bulldogs as well. So really good gift, kind gift to the channel. And I actually love wearing it. Really cool. So Friday the 6th of September then, I think I was going to say Essendon's form, but before we get into that. Lost 1, lost and 1. So West Coast Eagles have won the 3 out of 5 before this and 2 out of 5 for Essendon. If I was going to be put on the spot right now and say, as it stands right now before we know who the teams are going to be, I would be saying West Coast Eagles are going to win this, being the home tie for them. It'd be a West Coast Eagles victory. So on to the Friday the 6th of September, the only game on the Friday. Geelong Cats with the home tie, not so home tie for them, I think they'll be saying, against Collingwood at the MCG. Who's the home team? I'll let you decide. Both Victoria clubs, but only one team there from Melbourne, and it ain't Geelong. So Geelong 1, lost 1, and Collingwood have won the last 4 and lost before that. Geelong, of course, finished with a great victory at the weekend there. Collingwood are playing some good stuff. Who's going to win it? I'm not going to put a prediction down on that one just yet. That's a tough one to call. Finals footy, everyone, isn't it? It's finals footy. If you're going by form's not going to be an easy one to go on, and I'll tell you why. Time and time again when I've watched knockout tournaments or one-off games, when your team's played some really good football, or really good, went out and won a game, and then the following week they're off, and then they come back to play after that. The form that they've been in momentum-wise, it's been good. Sometimes works against them. You want constant games to keep coming to keep the momentum rolling, but you know, with that break, that could go against teams. Sometimes that's just what I've seen in sport throughout the years. When you get a little bit of a break like this, it doesn't always help. So anything can happen. Finals footy, knockout footy now. It could go either way. So that's the only game on Friday. Geelong Collingwood. Really looking forward to it. Indeed, all the games now. So 7th of September then, Saturday the 7th of September. GWS Giants, 6th place they finished against Western Bulldogs who finished 7th. So the Giants Stadium, so it's an away game for the Bulldogs. The home tie will be favourable for the Giants, but exactly, mate, you and I, exactly. You know what I'm getting at with that there. When you have that winter break and you come back and you've had a bit of momentum you're on form and you get that break, you just want the games to keep coming. Any break in that momentum can be catastrophic. But we'll see. So the Giants, anyway, home advantage, I don't know. If you're going by the way these two played against each other a couple of weeks ago, the Bulldogs absolutely smashed, and I mean smashed, the Giants. It was one-sided. Form is on the Bulldogs' side. Home advantage, can you say the Giants have a massive fan base where they will turn this stadium into like home, like a cauldron of noise, and all the fans on their side, which will get the team lifted? I don't know. I feel the Western Bulldogs will do it. And that one, I just think they will. I don't know what it is. I think they're finding form right now when you need to find it. And the Giants are all over the place. They're there for the taking by anyone. Any one of those teams right now, the two weakest for me in it are the Giants and Essendon. Just the way they've been playing. Everybody else, I know the West Coast Eagles have lost 2, but you can't rule them out of going out and doing something here. They're reigning premiers. They've been and done it. They're experienced at this. You can't write them off. So anyway, I actually think it'll be a Western Bulldogs win there, but we'll have to wait and see. And the last game on Saturday, last game of finals week 1, Brisbane Lions versus Richmond. We had the big game at the weekend between the two sides, which Richmond came out victorious in. It was at the MCG, 7 games in a row at the MCG for Richmond, which saw them win 9 games in a row. Now, it's at the Gabba. Home advantage for the Lions. The Gabba has been absolutely sensational watching it the last wee while. Next weekend, the footy, mate. Not this weekend, next weekend. 5th, 6th and 7th of September. So the Gabba's been absolutely magnificent. A cauldron of noise. The bandwagoners have jumped on board the bandwagon and they're filling the Gab out in its numbers. But the noise has been sensational. They're really buying into this team right now. They've got the feel-good factor about them. They did lose against Richmond, but they are the home team here. That one's a tough one to call. I'm really looking forward to this. Never seen finals footy. It's going to be mayhem, frantic. I can imagine a lot of hot potato footy getting played. Nobody pulling out of any tackle whatsoever. Really going for it. What you've got to remember is here, it's not a marathon anymore. It's knockout. You win against this team, you're through to the next round. And then to the next round. And then potentially the grand final. That's how it's going to go. Give it your all. Play with some heart for the fans in the stands. Mirror Girl, thanks very much for the donation. Wow, absolutely fantastic there. Really appreciate that. A really generous gift. Thank you. I know. Apologies for everyone that's tuning in. Just now, who I never mentioned at the start. I was sick on Sunday. I did go to my work yesterday, but I just still wasn't feeling right. And up to it, I still looking at myself in the reflection here. I still don't look too hot on it right now, but had a little bit of a bug or something over the weekend, but getting better now, so I've got doing the live stream now, so thanks very much. Apologies anyway that I never got doing it. Rob, thanks very much everyone that's joining and who's just been putting the comments in. What is your opinion on Cats not getting a home final done? Well, I think it's absolutely ridiculous, to tell you the truth. If they're the home team, surely they've got to have the home tie. You know what I mean? Nobody's debating where the grand final should be, but when you're talking about home finals, I think they've got more than enough reason to be annoyed by this, considering West Coast Eagles are the home side in the Optus Stadium. So Essendon, of course, Victoria side, as people have mentioned, they're travelling all the way out west to Perth. You look at the Giants have got their home tie in their stadium, and the Brisbane Lions have got it in Brisbane at the Gabba. So I think if you're Geelong, you've got every right to be disappointed here. I think the MCG, I don't think it's going to be a disadvantage to them, because at the end of the day, they'll have a lot of fans there. I'm not sure how it works. Do they get the majority of the tickets because they are the home side? Will they have more crowd at it? Or will people simply not be able to go there because of travelling or whatever? I don't know. But I do believe that it is unfair. It should be at their ground. Is it the GmbH Stadium or whatever it's called? It should be at their ground anyway, down in Geelong, where the fans have been going all year round, watching their team, coming out in their numbers to support their team. I would feel aggravated that it wasn't at my home ground. So yes, I definitely believe they should be at home. However, it's knockout footy. Let's not care about where it's being played. Go out there and get the job done. They've got more than enough quality in their team to beat Collingwood. But then again, Collingwood have got more than enough quality to beat Geelong. So it should be a really, really good game. But on that question, yes, I do genuinely feel that they should be disappointed about that one. Glenn, I think you commented, lovely shot, mate. Thanks very much. Greatly appreciated, my friend. Nick, MCG fits 100,000 people. Nice comment, mate. The reason why I've just noticed that there, and I'm going to comment back on that, is what does the Optus Stadium hold? What does the Giants Stadium hold? And what does the Gabba hold? Because I'm sure they are not above 50,000. It's not a question of capacity at this stage, I don't believe. I believe this is about whoever's got the home tie should have the home stadium advantage. That's how it's drawn in the draw, isn't it? So if it's not played to that regard, then it is, in my opinion, it's unfair. If that were the case and it was about capacity and getting as many numbers, then surely every game should be at the MCG. I would just have to put that question back to you. I mean, if it's about filling out 100,000 seats at every game, then I'm sure at this stage in the proceedings, every team would flock their numbers to go and support their club. They might not all hit the 100,000 capacity, but they'd be sitting at 89,000 maybe. I don't know about... obviously, I feel that Collingwood are good enough to beat Geelong and vice versa. I don't know who will win. I mean, at the end of the day, we won't know until it happens. They're both good enough to beat each other on their day. But if the question being the home game is certainly not a home game for Geelong. That much is true. When you look at the other three fixtures in it, they're all at home. And if it was about the 36,000 and the 100,000, I don't think that enters the debate, to be fair, because if that were the case, it would have had to enter the debate for all four games, and it hasn't. So I've only been asked my opinion, guys. Obviously, I'm new to the sport. You've probably all got your opinions on this. This is probably something that happens annually. It's a debate that's been long brewing way before I've even joined the thing. As an outsider, though, I'm giving you my opinion to a question, and I do think it's hard to take for Geelong. But I don't care if it was played in Scotland, the game. You're now playing knockout footy. This is a tournament. It doesn't matter where you play it. You're representing your club. The fans in the stands, yourself, your family. You give it everything you've got. No excuses. You go out there, and if you're Geelong, you go out there and you work your socks off. And if you're good enough on the day, you'll beat Collingwood. And that's all that matters is how you perform on the day, not where you play. If we do two in a row, I'd be... Look, 2 in a row is absolutely an incredible achievement by any standard, isn't it? Who was the last team to win back-to-back? Because I know the Brisbane Lions did the three-peat, didn't they? So I don't know. The Hawks did it. All right. Yes. Right. Okay. Yeah. So I was just thinking back, because the West Coast Eagles played Sydney in a final 2005, 2006, 2 years in a row, and they both won each, didn't they? Hawks won 3 in a row. Okay. Well, look. So, could they do it? Of course they can do it. I think they're good enough. I think it was a big blow for them. The last little while watching the West Coast Eagles, you just can't help but when Nick Nat came back, wow, I was blown away at how good this guy was. I think he was, for me, the most impressive ruckman. Maybe the only one that's as good as him that I watch every week is Grundy. But I'm really, really blown away at how good. Get them at Hampden for the finals. I did see Chico roll. I did actually see a Chico roll. Somebody sent me a picture of one. It was one of my friends on Facebook there sent me a picture of their takeaway that they got with some chips. So I need to try one. Can't wait to get over and try one, see what the big fuss is about. These Chico rolls. So anyway, back to the footy talk. When Nick Nat was playing, I was blown away at how good he was, and then he gets injured again. But I think that he's close to coming back again. This could be huge. I don't know if he's going to be fit enough for next week. Yeah, big giant spring roll. Yeah, you know, I was actually eating them the other day, but not as good as what you're obviously getting. Who do I think will make grand final? It's a tough question because I don't even know who's going to come out of this round. I think the Bulldogs will beat the Giants. I just do. The Eagles will beat Essendon. Being at the Gabba, I'm really struggling with that one. I think Richmond will beat the Lions. If you watch the game at the weekend, as good as the Lions are at footy, Richmond are better. I'm sorry if that annoys anyone. If you're being honest and you watch enough footy, you can see the way Richmond play. They're unlike any other team in the AFL. The type of footy they play, nobody else plays it, and they're the best at it. And if they can get playing their style at the Gabba, there could be a lot of frustrated home fans. That's all I'll say. Who's the better team out of the two sides? I believe it's Richmond. Who do I want to win? That doesn't really matter. People are asking me who I think will win. Of course, you'd like to see the underdogs win. I think Brisbane Lions, I think they finished third bottom last year, 15th or something. Of course, you want to see a fairy tale story. I would like to see Lions beat Richmond. If that was the case, everybody wants to back an underdog. If you're backing the underdogs, you'd be backing Essendon, probably Geelong going into this right now. I would say the way Collingwood are playing, you would probably put Geelong down as the underdogs here, being at the MCG. The Giants, I feel, on the form they're in, the Bulldogs are the favourites. Not much between those two sides, really, is there? Yeah. So I think Richmond will go through. Just looking at it, West Coast Eagles are definitely going through. Collingwood Geelong is so hard to call. If you were going off the form that both teams were playing on, you're going to say Collingwood, aren't you? If I was putting a bet on it right now, I was putting money down on it, I would put Collingwood to win. Purely because I would be taking into consideration MCG, the current form they're in. Geelong are all over the place, but I did watch Geelong playing really, really well at the weekend against Carlton. And people go, it's only Carlton. But if you've been watching Carlton play, they've actually been decent value for money. They're not a bad side. They've been playing really good stuff under David Teague. Geelong needed that win. They really, really needed a convincing win like that, didn't they? They really, really did. Dangerfield was sensational. Ablett was on fire. These are two guys that I've been disappointed with. Anybody that says Dangerfield for certain awards this year, I'm sorry, in my personal opinion, I don't see that way. They both got into the All-Australian squads, I think, didn't they? Well, into the qualification sort of thing for it. They're in the fray for getting picked anyway, aren't they? Yeah, sure, over the course of it, I would probably agree with that. But are they the best in their positions? I don't necessarily think so. But yes, two experienced heads. There's no denying the quality both of them possess. And they can unlock defences. The two of them are fantastic at footy. Colin would have to be on their day. Let's make no mistake about this. As I said, I'd be a betting man. It's not going to be a straightforward bet, that one. Knockout footy. Two teams going for it, hammer and tongue. And I'm not doing my predictions yet anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But if we're narrowing it down just based on this right now, quickly, so I've got West Coast Eagles, Collingwood, Bulldogs, Richmond. I don't know how they pair up after that though. Somebody would have to help me. So say it was the Bulldogs, Richmond, Collingwood, and the Eagles that went through. Who's playing each other? How does it work? How are they going to meet each other in the next finals week 2? How would that work? And then I can sort of. The loser of the 2 qualifiers. Yes, darling. Okay, shut that door, please. Shut the door down. No, right, well, go in the other room then. I'm doing a live stream. Go on away. Right, I'll give you one minute. Go on, take her 1 second. Go on then. You can get her the crisps if she likes them, that'll be fine.
You already have some.
Sorry?
Well, I already have some, but I'll see.
Let her have them, that's fine. 2 goals in 25 shots. That's shocking by any standard, really, isn't it? But don't write him off, guys, because he's an absolute freaking predator. The power that he possesses in and around that goal square. Some of the movement I witnessed him playing the weekend there, really, really good. As I say, I had said exactly the same thing to you. I've not been impressed by him or Ablett for a while now. They've not been playing great stuff. But just when, if you're a Geelong supporter, you want them to turn it on, it's now. And that's kind of what they did at the weekend against Carlton. Those 2 guys stepped up really, really good. So, anyway, regardless of all that then, let's just say those 4 teams, forget about all the... Yeah. Now take them out then. Good then. Right. So say those 4 teams get through that then. Semi-final kind of thing. Your preliminary final. Depending on how they're drew. I think it will probably be... I'm saying silent here because I'm trying to work this out in my head. Nick Nat comes back, it's going to be huge, isn't it? Collingwood are getting Stevenson back, he's a big lift. Pendlebury's playing unbelievable right now as well. I think the Eagles possess some of the most quality throughout a squad in the whole competition. I think the Eagles might just make the final. I'm going to say, depending on what way it's through, if it goes the way I think in my head, it's going to be Richmond West Coast Eagles final. That's what I think. That's what I think is going to happen. If that can happen, tell me, can that actually happen? I don't know how it works. I think if you're a footy fan, you want to see Nick Nat back, Dave, don't you? I mean, he's an absolutely unbelievable player. I think Richmond's going to beat the Lions. I've just got a funny feeling. So anyway, there's a lot of footy to be played before then to be asking me who's going to be in the grand final. I can give a guess. It's not an educated one. It's a guess. And I mean, when I'm doing my predictions through the week, I'm doing a lot of stuff like looking up, seeing who's injured, seeing if there's anybody been suspended. I'm taking into consideration an awful lot. I do quite a lot of paperwork behind the scenes to do my predictions. The last 2 weeks in a row, I've been let down by one game, so I've got 8 out of 9 right. So the homework's paying off basically with what I'm doing. So this is just a guess at this stage. There's a lot of footy to be played. I mean, Essendon could go and beat the West Coast Eagles for all we know. I very much doubt it'll happen, but it could bloody happen. So a whole lot of footy to be played to be guessing finals. But off the top of my head, just looking at the piece there, you would probably think West Coast Eagles will be in and around it, wouldn't you? They'll have something to say. They're only going to get better. Anyway, really looking forward to it anyway. So, that's it. And these other 10 teams, thanks very much for all your efforts throughout the year. Did I watch the cricket? Somebody's asking. Aqua. No, I didn't. I do think it's not a good topic for Australia, is it? I'm not too sure. I don't know fuck all about cricket, man. It's not a sport I like. I think it's terrible. I'm sorry if anybody watches it and likes it. It's just my opinion. It's a sport I could never take to. It's all the posh English ones that are playing it. Not even the poorer English ones. The posh English ones play cricket. That's why I could never take to it. I'm not about them. Don't have anything in common with the toffee nosed people. I push I watch rugby union. Rugby league's probably for more the working class people in Britain. Rugby union's for the posher kids. I will watch it though internationally. I do quite like international Six Nations. I'll probably watch a bit of the World Cup as well. I did do my predictions for the World Cup. Somebody asked me to do the Rugby Union World Cup prediction. They're probably not English. They get their players from all around the world because they've got that much money. Both amateur sports. Over here, union actually, I'm not too sure about Australia how well paid. I know New Zealand are, I think their league's one of the best union leagues, isn't it? Australia's more rugby league, the NRL. England's got quite a good rugby league as well. It's not as good as Australia, but it's quite good. But I would say the rugby union's big in Europe, league-wise. The Heineken Cup, the Champions League type thing, the European Cup's quite big as well. I think it's more of a working class sport league. Union play. I don't know what it's like in Australia, but usually the people at the posh schools play rugby union. You know, I never played rugby at school, man. Nah. All the posh folk, they didn't even have it at our school. I don't think. I can't remember it anyway. But it was all the academies, like the grammar schools. That's what they played at. I don't have a problem with anybody liking cricket. I know there's folks saying I like cricket. I mean, it's just not for me. I mean, Scotland, we're shite at cricket. I mean, I don't know anybody in Scotland that really likes anything other than soccer, football. Do you know what I mean? I think that's about it. You got the odd person like tennis for a while there when Andy Murray was doing all right, but that's it. That's pretty much our main sport, our only sport we really take seriously. I know. I would rather watch Sunday League as well. I'd rather watch the pub league or watch my mates going playing at the footy field down the street than watch cricket. Don't understand it. No. Don't get it. I actually didn't mind it when they made us play it at school. I didn't mind playing it, but watching it is painful. It's painful. I seen the song that the English fans were singing at Australia, though. It was on social media. All the convicts over there, are you convicts over there? I don't know if you've seen that. But that's English and Australian banter in the Ashes. Did they win the overall thing then? Is that how that worked? I have no idea. They play that many games, it's boring as fuck. I probably want Australia to win the Ashes just because it's great having a rivalry with England on anything, but do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. If they won it, if they only won it, it's tests, isn't it? John Coleman. Really, Tony? I will check it. I have watched Open Mic. Mike Sheehan, he gets good guests. He asks questions to try and get a reaction too, doesn't he? I like the Big Bashley. No cricket. Somebody asking about a Rangers player getting a call up for the Scotland squad. For anybody who doesn't know, anytime a Rangers player right now has been playing for Scotland, the home fans have been booing them. Rangers are hated off the Scottish national team supporters. Politics is the only reason for that, in my opinion. Well, and obviously club rivalries as well, because Rangers are notoriously one of the most hated clubs in Scotland because of their success. They're the most successful team in football, the amount of trophies they've won, and they're obviously the most successful team in Scotland. So being the most successful, it comes with the territory to being the most hated. So if he plays for Rangers, he's automatically disliked. But now with the political stuff going on in Scotland, nationalist type movement, it's even more. They're even more hated. What do I make of Ryan Jack getting a call? I think he deserves a call. I think he's Scotland's best centre midfielder right now. That's just my opinion. It's between him and John McGinn at Aston Villa, who's the best centre midfielder for Scotland right now. I'm glad he got a call because it's recognition that he deserves as the best player. But should he represent this current Scotland team with that manager and those supporters? No. He should just tell them to get the fuck. Because why should you put on a jersey of a country where the whole stadium's booing you? You've got a manager that hates the club you play for. Scotland is a cesspit of hatred at times, and none more so than the Scottish football national team. I want to see Scotland win, but it's very, very hard to support that football team. Club over country every single day of the week. For people in Australia, they're probably like that. Scottish people are usually so patriotic. We are patriotic. But when it comes to football, it's very hard to be patriotic. Too political. The sport in Scotland is so political. It's incredible. And the two main clubs in Scotland divide the nation. And it's deep rooted. It's deep rooted. It'll never change. It'll never go away. It's just a hard one to explain. Somebody's asked, how do I think Steven Gerrard is going as a manager? Well, pre-season, all the friendly games, all the European qualifiers that we've played, all the league games, he's not been behind. We've not trailed in a game. So say a team's took a lead, not 1 minute yet have we trailed in a game. Not once through the whole pre-season. I don't know how many games that is now. So this will be the 8th qualifier. I think we played about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's about 16 or 17 games of football I think we've played. We've not trailed in a single minute of that. I think Steven Gerrard's doing an absolutely magnificent job. I think he's an absolute icon. He's drawn some good quality young players that we might not have actually got before. They're actually coming to Rangers. They're going to get first team football. They're going to learn from a legend of the sport. Let's be honest here. I mean, you don't even need to like soccer or football, whatever you call it. But you'll know who Steven Gerrard is. The guy's a force. He's an absolute celebrity in the game. But that's because of how good he is. And he's took that into his management. I think he demands success on the field of play when he was a captain. I think he's now demanding success as a manager, and we're starting to see some great performances. We're struggling in games, but finding ways to win this year. That's the difference so far, and I genuinely believe we're a force to be reckoned with this year. And someday I'll tell the story. Get through the European tie on Thursday. If we can win the European tie on Thursday against, to be fair, it was a Polish team we came up against, Legia Warsaw. Very good side. I was quite impressed actually how good they were. Although I thought we were better than them on the night. It was 0-0. So there's a lot to play for. Yeah, for both sides. I think we'll do the job. If we can do the job there, and then of course, for all Australian people who are following the channel for the AFL, there's no footy this weekend. Tune into it on Sunday. Rangers versus Celtic at Ibrox Stadium. Huge game. We beat each other twice each last year in the league. It's a home tie for Rangers. I feel we're going to do them. Both teams have won 3 games each in the league. 3 games played, 3 games won for both teams. This is a chance to put a statement down there for both clubs. And I feel that we've got a very, very good chance to do it. And I think we'll do it as well. I think we'll do it. So tune in for that. It should be a good one. My mullet's coming on fine, my man. Absolutely fine. I'm loving the mullet. I still do the sponsor the mullet down below if anybody's interested in sponsoring the mullet. I don't think I've had sponsors for it in a while. People are doing the donations on the live stream. I'm not too sure if they're sponsoring the mullet when they do that or if they're just sponsoring the channel. But yeah, if you're sponsoring the mullet, I'll keep it going. I've not had a few actual out and out. I only had two or three sponsors for the actual mullet officially, so I've kept it going for that. I've been a sport for that, but if it gets to the stage where I'm like, this is getting too long now and the sponsors aren't coming in, it might have to get cut back a bit. But if the sponsors keep rolling in and you sponsor the mullet and you say, this is for the mullet, then I'll grow the mullet longer. Alright, that's the deal. And on the talk of the sponsorship, that's the baseball caps. They've sold really, really well. I've sold quite a few baseball caps and hoodies. Really impressed with the sales on that. So thanks very much for everybody who's purchased one. Really appreciate the support on that. They're really, really good quality. It's that Yuping, mate, that make the Flex Fit hats. Very, very good. Merchandise is going well, mate. Thanks very much for everybody. You know who you are that's bought them. I don't know if you've anybody who's bought them received it yet for the ones that I've posted off. I hope you have. If not, it should be there soon, I'd imagine. I've got other stuff locally. I've sold quite a bit of hoodies, quite a hoodie jumpers. I've came up with a new hoodie, and this is for Australians. It's a lighter weight one, which will suit Australian people for the heat. So bear in mind, maybe something in the evening when it starts to get a bit cooler. It's a lighter weight one. It's a smaller logo, which I think looks tidier. It's on my social media thing. I put it on there. I think, Leanne, you made a comment. You quite liked it. You'll know the one I mean. It's like the royal blue sleeves with the navy and the royal blue logo. And I think it's got adjustable bits here. But it's lightweight. And the reason why I wanted to get a lightweight one is because it's warm in Australia. And even in the evening, you might not even be able to wear this. I don't know. In the winter, it'll do you anyway, you know. But it's good gym wear, it's good lightweight sportswear, but it'll also be cheaper to post because it'll be lighter weight in the mail. This is one of the things I was thinking as well. So yeah, you've seen them, Leanne. It's like a little zipper hoodie as well. It's a thin one. It's probably still only really suitable for the UK, but you know, I'm trying to get things designed for people to suit the Australian audience as well, and what you might like. So I know what you're going to ask me on that one, Ewan. I didn't see it. I'm going to watch it, but I did see that clip. I know what you're talking about. Absolutely brilliant, my man. So, that's absolutely madness. -7, and then I know I've seen the snow, and obviously the Giants versus... Help me out. Giants versus Hawks, wasn't it? In the snow a couple of weeks back. That was good to watch. But -7 till 35 degrees. I mean, that's madness too. Like, so it's quite warm. It's quite warm. Actually, it's not massively hotter than what we're getting here in the UK, 35 degrees. 35 plus even. I thought that's more like it. They were getting snow there the other day in one of the games. The first time ever in one of the games live, it snowed. 28 degrees in Perth in winter. It's like Middle East temperatures. That's insane. My word. That's peak summer here. Like 28 where we are is probably one of the hottest days of the year. We'd be lucky to go above that where I am right now. 28 would probably be one of the hottest up there, 28, 29. Gerrard's year? I hope so, Rob. I think we've got the quality and we've got the quality and depth now in the squad. I think we've got players to come off the bench now that we didn't have last year. We've got a lot more quality players fighting for the jersey, which will ultimately drive on the players on the field to improve. We're going to get a better product on the field than what we got last year. I've got no doubt about that. We're getting taken in the right direction. Steven Gerrard is doing a fantastic job, as I did make a comment on. Him and Mark Allen, who's our director of football, has identified some amazing players for free nearly. We've signed players, we didn't buy them, we got them on free contracts, and we've given them, probably getting decent wages, don't get me wrong, but doing it in smart business, which is totally unlike Rangers. We used to just go crazy with money, throw the money around like it was never going to run out, which led us into ultimate financial ruin. And we had to go down through the divisions and work our way back up for our trouble. So I do feel that there's something good on the cards. Might be too early to get far too excited, but come back in Christmas and then we'll talk about where we are and we'll have a look at, well, being able to have played half the games and we can say, look, do you know what? Put a push on now, sign a couple more players in the winter window, get a couple of players in that we've needed in certain areas and go for the title. It's there for the taking. It definitely is there for the taking. But I don't want to get too overconfident just yet. So, good question, Glenn. Who's your top 5 players this year? From what I've watched, not from the overall thing, bearing in mind I watched it from, I think, round 13 or 12. I missed a good half of the year of footage. So, from what I've watched, I can only talk about Patrick Cripps, Lockie Neal, the two obvious names, but they're phenomenal. This is a good question. There's been some phenomenal players in there. I've liked a couple of boys from Collywood. I think just go about their business. I couldn't narrow it down to 5. I can just throw out names that I've really enjoyed watching. Even narrowing it down to 5 might be quite difficult off the top of my head. Pendlebury, Sidebottom's been good. Grundy's been good for Collingwood.
I don't do this place.
Okay. You want to play that? Go on then. Let me think. Richmond's had a good few players. Prestia's been good. I've been impressed with him. I like so many players for so many different reasons, but it's hard to say if they've been in the top 5 or not. I like Ruckman. I like players at the back that are prepared to take a tackle, give a hard hit out, take a hit, do the donkey work, the mongrel stuff at the back. So many players to mention. It's unbelievable. It's a good question. I think Ben Brown for North's been phenomenal as well. I mean, anybody, him and obviously the main goal scorers right now, Charlie Cameron as well. Cameron for the Giants. There's so many players. It's incredible. I think for the young talent as well, Walsh's stats have been absolutely frightening. He's broke the record for most disposals for a first year. Coming in, a first year player. He smashed the records. Brilliant from Walsh there. Although he's played probably more minutes on the footy field than any other player in their first year, his stats are still outrageous. Really impressed with him. Impressed with so many players for so many different reasons. I can't narrow it down to a top 5 off the top of my head. If I went through it all from my weeks that I've watched it, there's some good players in there, isn't there? I think the Brownlow if Brownlow was not an umpire's choice, it was about players who have been consistently incredible. It's Lachie Neale and Patrick Cripps for me. I think they've been the best two players that I've watched. Sensational, in fact. Nat Fife's probably a golden boy. He'll probably get a mention in there. Dangerfield will probably get a mention in there, even though I think he doesn't deserve it. It's not that he doesn't deserve it, I just don't think he's been better than other players. A player that I've actually liked, he's a bit of an unsung hero at the Lions, is Richie. Absolutely brilliant. It's Rich, isn't it? The blonde-haired fella with the ponytail. Really like him. Grundy's been unreal. Yeah. He's been absolutely outstanding. Pendlebury's another one. He's an absolute leader. Somebody put out one of the things, who should be the captain of the All-Stars, and it had Patrick Cripps, not Grundy, Pendlebury, Lachie Neale maybe was it, and another one. And for me, bearing in mind, Lachie Neale's young, and Patrick Cripps is young, Pendlebury's been about a bit longer. My captain would be Pendlebury. I don't know what it is. I just think he's not probably had as good a season as them, but from how good he's been for that football club, outstanding. What a player. There's not a lot of players that would like to admit that about Collingwood players. There's not a lot of people that would like to admit Collingwood players being good, but if you're being brutally honest and you're watching the sport and you're watching footy because you enjoy it, you've got to give credit where it's due, and there's some fantastic players at that club. And indeed, Carlton, as I say, like, you can go right down that ladder. It doesn't matter where the club finishes. When you're talking about individual players, there's individual players that are great at everyone. Steelo for Brownlow, yes. Steelo side bottom, of course, with a ruptured testicle. Wow, that sounded horrific, by the way. You wouldn't wish that on your worst enemy. Terrible stuff. I like players for different reasons. As I said, I like some of the players that will give you a bit of magic and trickery. Tipper Woody's another one. Of course, Charlie Cameron, Gerrard Cameron. There's loads of guys throughout the tournament throughout the ladder that I've watched this year. He did, mate. Yes, you did hear me right. If that's what I think you're commenting on, that's what happened to him in training. Don't know if it was a boot that got put into him there, but it sounded absolutely horrendous. There was a rumour that Malthouse could end up, or not a rumour, people have linked him with the Freo job. Now, obviously, there's a vacant job now at Fremantle Dockers. Malthouse coming back. 2 questions then. Do you think he's a dinosaur and that... This is all part of the one question, sorry. Do you think he's a dinosaur and that his coaching days are beyond him? Is he still going to be able to do a good job? That's one question. 2 questions in one. And then my second question being, do you think the sparks will be flying between him and, of course, Nathan Buckley at Collingwood? That's going to be absolutely outstanding. Outstanding to see those two. They fucking hate each other. I actually genuinely believe those two guys hate each other. Boss Baby makes more sense than Don. Thanks very much for the second donation, mate. Appreciate it. So, thanks very much anyway. I was just laughing at your comment. She was pulling my camera there. She does make more sense. I don't know what she's doing. She's organising the ladder there. And it's not so good if you're Essendon, you found your way back into 9th. Good night anyone who's going and leaving the live stream. I'm actually going to have to cut the live stream short. That's almost an hour. These streams do just... The time just vanishes on them. I get good banter. She's ordered the ladder. A lot of teams are off it. Essendon have found themselves down into 9th. There's a lot of teams missing. I don't know what she's done. She's lost the magnet, but I'll find them all the stuff again. Thanks very much for everyone who's tuned in. I had a bit of banter there. For everyone who donated, Thanks very much. Greatly appreciate the donations. It means a lot. Merchandise, if you've got any questions about merchandise, do comment. Leanne, thank you very much for the donation. Another one just popped through there, Leanne. Greatly appreciated donation there. It just popped up and scrolled away because of all the comments coming through. For merchandise, as I said, do get in touch. Comments section below if you're interested, or indeed on social media, if you talk to me on that. If you want baseball caps, polo shirts or hoodies. I'm not going to look into too much other stuff right now because I don't want to bombard people with new ideas. It's just too much to manage right now on top of all the other stuff. We're coming up to finals. I want to concentrate on the footy more and put all my sole efforts really into that. And then when the footy season's over, I can kind of work harder on the merchandise and all the other. Bearing in mind, there's going to be a lot of time without live footy. I can do a lot more reaction videos in that time, so there, you can get your Don's channel fix of reactions as well. So if you like my reactions and stuff like that, or channel reactions, the family reactions, there'll be more of them coming as well around that bit of time. I can do no, actually, mate. Tell you what, I can't do UFC, and I'll tell you why I can't do UFC. Because I got hit with a copyright strike off UFC for doing a reaction to one of their videos. There was only little bits of highlights throughout, and they hit me with a copyright strike. And they would not answer my emails back when I asked them to remove the copyright strike. I emailed them about 20 times to remove the copyright strike, and they're such a big organisation, they were like, whatever, didn't even answer my reply, so I will not do UFC. I don't actually genuinely really like the sport anymore, and it's because I think Conor McGregor commercialised it, didn't he? Made it all a big fancy, bringing in the money, all the shit talk, and Khabib handed him his fucking ass, and I absolutely loved that when he got sent back to where he belonged, eating the canvas. He got a fucking punch in the face. This is a guy who's a kickboxer. We're going to talk about Conor McGregor. Everybody loves Conor McGregor. He's a 2-bit fighter. He's average fighter. He's not that fucking good at fighting. There's so many better fighters in the UFC than him, but he could walk the walk. He exploited the sport for what it is. Do you know what I mean? He found a way to make money. Congratulations to the guy. But when you put him in the ring, one punch made him famous, and it was an 11-second punch, I think, against Aldo that knocked him out, and he's lived off that from then on. He's talked and talked and talked. He's showed fights. He's fought Mayweather, the Money Mayweather. Boxing, it was the most embarrassing thing I ever seen. Fucking two embarrassing people. But Conor McGregor trying to force old men to drink his fucking whiskey in a pub in Dublin, pouring the glasses of whiskey out. The old man didn't want any. He probably didn't even like whiskey. I don't want your whiskey. And he's told Conor McGregor, I don't want your whiskey, and he's punched him in the face. An old man. This guy's a trained weapon. And he's punched an old man. Imagine that was your grandfather in the pub. Maybe he's only out for a couple with his mates. He goes there every Friday night. He's no one any hassle. Catch up with some old guys maybe he's been friends with for years, and along comes this big shot, Conor McGregor, fucking asshole. Punches him across the bar. Cheap shot. Imagine that was your grandfather. You would want that fucker killed. He's a scumbag. Like, that's just it. The guy's an absolute scumbag. And he's not that great a UFC fighter. I don't particularly like UFC. I did like it years ago when it was Georges St. Pierre and fighters like that there were genuine mixed martial arts fighters. Not this clown. I like boxing. I like Muay Thai. I like proper fighting. GSP, like, the guy was unbelievable. If you beat Georges St. Pierre, he would work out how to fucking beat you at your own style of fighting. He would train in that style of fighting and then go back and beat you. He was a pro. He was unbelievable at what he did. There's some great fighters in the UFC right now, but they've literally went down this road with Conor McGregor, and I just can't be bothered with it. It's on at 5 o'clock in the morning. It's never friendly times for any people outside of America. It's not for me. I like boxing. I like watching boxing. British fighters in the boxing. Some great British fighters. A good couple of Scottish fighters there that I'm enjoying as well. But Conor McGregor ain't one of those fighters I like. Had to mention that though. I mean, That is a scumbag move. You don't punch old men in a pub, like, do you? I'm sure that he'll get a fine and he'll throw a bit of money at it and he'll walk away like nothing's ever happened, along with all the other drama he's caused, getting on the wrong side of gangsters in Dublin as well. And the guy's an absolute nutcase, you know what I mean? He's uncontrollable. And I'm not sure what his whiskey's like, if it's any fucking good, but every bar now in every bar in Dublin's refusing to sell his whiskey, so it's backfired. It's not been a great thing for him, what he's done, and he gets what he deserves. So yeah, happy days. Down at the front now. Okay. So that's my little bit of rant about him. He does deserve. A lot of people are actually taking to social media and ranting about this. I think he can defend certain things that people do wrong in all walks of life. Like, I mean, like, somebody's went out and he's been cheated on his wife. Like, whatever happens behind closed doors, happens behind closed doors. People's got problems with drink, they've got problems with drugs. You know, you can forgive these things. We're all human beings, we make mistakes. But I don't believe punching an old man is making a mistake. I think you're just fucking scum. There's no two ways about it. He's scum. And I hope it's the end of his career. I hope it costs him in his pocket and he's having to walk about the streets of Dublin poor and he gets what's coming to him. Jameson's whiskey is actually fucking nice. I actually enjoy it. That's an Irish whiskey. You would think I'd like the Scottish whiskey. Like Dave, look, could you imagine, right? You're in the bar, even if you're not an old man. What, I don't know what age you are, it doesn't really matter. Even if you're my age, I'm sitting in the bar, and somebody comes up, some idiot, you know, the old guy probably doesn't even know who he is. He probably doesn't even watch fucking UFC for a start. He probably has no idea who this bellend is that's just walked into the bar, giving it the big I am, grabbing bottles for behind the bar, pouring people whiskies. He's probably like, who's this fucking asshole? And he's coming up and he's going, take a whiskey. I don't want a whiskey, it's my whiskey, you're taking a whiskey. I'm not wanting a whiskey, mate. And he's like, you sure? No, I don't want your whiskey. Crack, and he's punched you. You know, he's too old to be able to do anything about it. And in fairness, none of us are going to be able to fight Conor McGregor. He's going to beat our ass. Because he's a trained fucking fighter. And it's a cheap shot. A scumbag. The only time I ever liked a professional boxer hitting somebody that wasn't a boxer was when Mike Tyson smashed Don King outside that hotel. Oh my word, that was magic. He did actually take it like a champ. He get hit in the jaw and his head goes to the side like that there, but he never fell off the stool. He never even fell back, his head just went back. It was actually a shite punch. I actually think I've probably hit people better in my life. Japanese MMA. Is that the stuff where they can actually stamp on their heads when they're on the ground? I like Muay Thai because Muay Thai's 8 points of contact. So you're actually above kickboxing because you can use the 2 elbows and you can use the 2 knees, 2 feet, 2 knees, 2 elbows, 2 fists. There's obviously left way as well, and let me get this right. It's not Burma anymore. It's Myanmar, isn't it? It used to be Burma. Myanmar. Burmese martial art. It was called Lethway, and they can actually still headbutt as well on it. So I quite like watching it. It was quite aggressive, very aggressive fighting, and they use the old hand wraps, so it's effectively still bare knuckle fighting. They still do forms of Muay Thai like that as well. But that sport you're talking about, I've seen it, some of that before in the past, years ago. And I'm sure people were getting killed because they were stamping on their neck. They were already knocked out and they were allowed to do finishing shots on them and they were stamping on necks and killing people. Fucking extreme, really, really grim stuff. But no, I never seen that with Ronda Rousey. I actually quite like Ronda Rousey as she's obviously a judo background, didn't she? She was strong. She got her ass handed to her off Holly Holmes that time, wasn't it? Holly Holmes kicked her. She was kickboxer. There's no deaths It must be a different Japanese thing I'm thinking about. It was years ago, mate. I mean, they used to be able to do finishing stamps on them and stuff, and there was people being killed. Unless it's a now modernised version of that, and that's where their Japanese mixed martial arts are. I'm not sure, but you know what the Asians are like, man. They're nuts too, like, aren't they? They love all that kind of stuff. Scorecards are boring. If you look, I don't know if you follow boxing, but if you looked at, even though Tyson Fury got put on the canvas twice in that fight, and in the 12th, he get fucking, or 11th, sorry, was it? He get dropped, and you thought he was completely knocked out, and he's got back up, and he's managed to win the round, or not win the round, but kind of dominate the round after he was knocked down. 10-8, wasn't it? But that was fixed. That fight, it was in America. You don't go over to America and let it go to the scorecard. Nobody wins on scorecard in America. Everybody knows that. Boxing's corrupt for that. So, I'm going to go there now anyway. I've just seen that UFC comment coming in. That's why I can't do UFC, because they literally bang out the strikes. You're only allowed 3 strikes and then you lose your channel. So it's simply not worth it. For me anyway, probably for people watching the channel, they'd be a little bit annoyed if the channel had get lost through to stuff like that. But as I say, even the fact that I got the strike for using their content is bad. I probably, the way I went about using it, everybody reacts to stuff. That's what reactors do. They react to requests, and you kind of worry about the consequences afterwards. Not many people are going out and getting, from big organisations like that, permission before they use it, and that's what the problem is. It's a grey area. It is a grey area when you're using reactions. You're reacting to their content. You're not necessarily showing their content as a full thing. So if you're gonna do reactions, you have to be aware of that. And in UFC, are just literally there's no communication with them. They don't. Their PR team or their media team don't get back to you. The AFL did get back to me, but they put it through to their media department, their social media department. They never got back to me, so I've not had a strike off the AFL. I believe it's okay to use their content for reactions, but I'm still awaiting response from them. But they've always been happy enough. You don't get money for doing reactions. You don't get any adverts on your videos. You just do it for the joy of watching and getting people watching you. It helps grow your channel. The only positive that comes out of reactions is it maybe grows your channel to a wider audience, I think, but there's not an awful lot of, I wouldn't imagine money to be made out of reactions. It's just something I enjoy doing. There's a lot of people, particularly when I was doing Indonesian content, they were constantly hammering me with AdSense. And I was like, hold on a second here. You asked me to react to your videos and you're constantly going on about this. That's why I kind of stopped doing Indonesian stuff. They were always going on to me about AdSense. I was like, I can't be bothered with this anymore. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Do you know what I mean? I'm doing the request for you. But with AFL, it's something I'm really enjoying doing, and nobody's treated me that way and going on about that. It's a hard one to explain unless you've got a channel, you know what I'm talking about. But some of the feedback you get is positive. That there I put down as negative feedback. It's constantly. It's not even the fact that it's a negative comment. It's not a negative comment. It's just mentally fucking draining. Because it's a country of 300 million people. But out of those 300 million people, there must be about 200 million of them using bloody YouTube. Because you get inundated with messages. And it was great when it was great. But see, when it got too much, and I took a step away from it. The majority of the people were good, but it just got too much. It was just overwhelming. Like, as I said a number of weeks ago, for me, going from all those reactions to doing all those videos of like stuff that I enjoyed actually reacting to, and tell you the truth, it wasn't bad stuff, but I was getting views up in the I think I got like 500,000 and 600,000 views on one video, maybe 700,000 views, and I was getting like over 100,000 views on videos very, very regularly. But the comments that were coming on it were just nipping away at my happiness, just cutting away at it all the time. And I don't get that with the AFL. It's a sport I love to watch. I'm enjoying reacting to it. I enjoy talking about it. I feel it's a better, tighter knit community within the channel here just now as well. And I've probably took a hit on views. I've took a massive hit on views. But as I say, if it was only about the AdSense, I would, if there was any Indonesians watching, then answer me, why am I not doing it anymore? If that was all it was about, I would still be doing it. It's not about the AdSense. It's about actually doing something you enjoy. More importantly, if you enjoy it, hopefully it'll grow and grow and grow that way, and you can turn it more professional through hard work and obviously keeping at something, sticking at something. Like that's life. That's what happens. You put hard work in, you get rewarded. And I believe I'm putting hard work in behind the scenes. I don't feel like I should have to explain it, but sometimes you do, and that's what threw me away from the Indonesian stuff. I was being overwhelmed by that. It's just, and they talk about something. I don't know if any people's got their own channels here as well on YouTube. They talk about YouTube. You know, you need a break from it. Basically, I can't remember what they call it. That's it, and I know there's you in there, Rangers man. There's quite a few Rangers guys doing. I have my own reasons why I'm personally not doing too much on Rangers, because I want to see those guys have their own success. They're established channels and they do very good content. I'm not going to come in and try and put another channel out there and compete with them. They deserve all the success they get, and they work hard behind the scenes, and that's not what a lot of people maybe don't run a channel realise, that you do work hard, and all day in my work I'm thinking about what could I do here, or what could I say, or what could I read about to bring in new content or something like that. Fair enough, this last couple of weeks it's been solely about where we're sitting right now in the current footy ladder, because we're coming to the business end of the ladder. But during the down season I can do a lot more reactions, I can dig into more historical stuff, but right now it's going to be about finals. As I said, I'm going to be hammering more and more final stuff in, because we want to get the appetite for what we're leading up to, build up the appetite for it, get the excitement brewing for the grand final, and that's the end game of this season, isn't it? It's the grand final and who will win. And that's what I'm going to do over the next few weeks. That'll be a lot of my efforts. I'll be focusing on the grand final. But as I say, for a creator of a channel, all these people put in their opinion, and it's okay to put in an opinion, but there needs to be some substance in your argument. You can't just go, you're doing it for that. But why do you think I'm doing it for that? Tell me why you think it. All you ever get is Indonesians mean views mean money, right? So why do I want to sacrifice 600,000 views to go into doing videos that are only getting 1,000 views, maybe on reactions, or 2,000? If it was only about that, there's differences in the way people treat you, and I've not been treated like that once from the Australian audience or any other sports, to be fair. It was just there. If there's any Indonesians that are watching this right now, I'll come back and watch it. I'm not apologetic for it whatsoever. It's you can't be apologetic for how you feel on something. I was overwhelmed by it.
And I want drink.
Yep.
Thank you.
It was too much. It was too much negativity. And I'm a positive sort of person. So anyway, that's a little bit of a rant about that one. Yeah, so I have maybe got Indonesians. That's what happened, mate. If you want to watch that back, that rant I was on, more than happy to let. I don't think I've said anything wrong. You know yourself. People can get too much for you, where you just call it a day there. I never necessarily called it a day with the stuff. I've just took a backward step from it. You've got to remember, I was banging out like 3 and 4 reaction videos a day, because I was getting, I swear, right, this is the truth, I was getting days where I was getting about 100 requests a day for different videos to react to. And, you know, it was too much. It was just overwhelming. And it wasn't just from one topic. It was from a wide variety of stuff. I'm talking, people make Vespa scooters, modify them into like, they take a Vespa and turn it into like a bus, and there's like 8 people stacked up high on this Vespa and they're going down, or a children's slide coming off a Vespa, you know, ridiculous things like this. And I was getting asked to react to this stuff. As much as I thought it was quite mad, it was quite cool. Whoa, what the hell is that? You know, it was too much. There was too much of a variety. There wasn't enough topic. I couldn't get my teeth into something that I enjoyed too much, and it just got fucking overwhelming. You're talking about a country with 300 million people, and there's a lot of people, and I mean a lot of reactors doing that country, and I don't blame people for doing it if they've got an audience that they're enjoying reacting to and for. But you weren't getting the same people all the time. What you were getting was just loads of people, and they were always going on. They were calling you Buell, whatever the fuck that is. I considered it to be quite a derogatory thing. I get called Buell every fucking day. Buell, AdSense. I goes, I couldn't take it anymore. I goes, nah. Like, I didn't treat people that way. I don't want treated that way, and that was just enough for me. I didn't want to say it just quite as bluntly as that, but you get my drift. You know, any Australians know what Buell means? Have you heard it before? I have no idea what it means, but I was getting called Buell, but it was always with capital letters, and it always sounded like when I was translating it, trying to Google translating it, it was always sound. They were calling me a Buell, B-U-L-E. B-U-L-E. I've asked in my live streams before, why do you keep calling me a Buell? What the hell's a Buell? We don't call each other that in the UK. I don't know what a Buell is. I was getting called a Buell. I don't know if it's a good thing, but it sounded like a derogatory one. I just, fuck off. Like, we would get nailed in our country if we were calling people stuff that was probably a freaking nickname. Do you know what I mean? Never mind on social media, you'd lose your job. So I just go, there's no respect. There was no respect for me doing all that hard work behind the scenes. People are okay to give the requests. I love requests. But when you're getting 100 and odd requests, and then you're getting other folk commenting like that in the background, I just goes, translates to foreigner. So, like, that's racial then, right? I'm not easily racist. I mean, see, being Scottish, you can get called in a Scottish B all the time. I laugh my head off at that. It doesn't bother me. We're quite thick-skinned people. But just flip that. In today's society, if I was to, it means foreigner. If I was to start going foreigner to all the foreigners that worked in the UK with a different colour of skin from me, I would probably get done for that somewhere along the line, especially on social media. Chances are I'm going to lose my job for a start. It's not going to be good, is it? Do you know what I mean? So I reckon it's probably a lot more. It might mean foreigner, but it could be a lot more derogatory than that.
Is there? Oh, CB. Don't bite it.
Says it's highly offensive to Indonesians. So why are they calling me one then?
Give me.
If it's highly offensive to them.
It didn't work. It didn't work.
There you go, pal. Nice. So, that's a day in the life of being having a face on a social media channel.
Yeah.
Exactly. Open this now. Ice pool. Freezing. Obviously. They consider it an offensive thing to call someone. So there you bloody go then. I knew it. I just knew by the way I was getting all these comments. I was like, they are freaking at me here like mad. I goes, But I was still doing that when I first started doing AFL, and I was doing my other sports as well, which I kind of still do. I still do a wee bit of the other sports on the... Obviously, that's took a back step just now, that channel, because I'm concentrating on the coming up for the grand final here. But I'll be able to do more mixed sports on that channel there. But I still do sports from around the world, all different types of sports. I could probably even do, dare I say it, a little bit of the cricket, like 10 best catches or something like that there. I don't have a problem with that. I couldn't watch a live cricket game, but if it was like 10 amazing catches in cricket history, that's good. That makes good viewing. I mean, I could react to something like that. For white Europeans, there you go. So it is skin colour. Imagine me running down the street and calling them such and such. It's not good. It's not good. But, you know, that's what I was putting up with on a daily basis. So if anybody, I mean, not all of them are like that there, but there was a lot of it. Do you know what I mean? They can't say it wasn't it was a minority. But like that all the time. But having said that, there was a lot of nice ones as well that was following the channel as well. So I kind of feel sorry for them that have followed the channel and enjoy the content that I've done, that were actually supporting it. But it come to a point where I just couldn't be bothered with it anymore. Exactly. But that's what I think. I think when you look at Australians and that, the Scottish banter and the mindset, they're near enough exactly the same. You're not as easily offended. As there's me talking about being offended. I'm not saying I was offended by that word. What I'm saying was I was just getting tired of the negative comments. And I didn't even know what the hell it meant to be offended by it, but I knew it was something that wasn't right. But anyway, that's in the past now. I know, and do you know what? I probably should have blocked them. I would have blocked them if I knew what the hell they were saying. I didn't know what the hell they were saying, and I didn't have Google. You have to actually take a message and then Google translate it yourself. I was like, I can't be bothered with this. But I knew by the capital letters, when folk write in capital letters, that they're shouting something, and when people are usually shouting, it's usually aggressive or it's usually anger. It's never usually a nice comment. So there you have it. There you are. No more content from there. So, as I say, no apology, no surrender. That's just a saying we've got here. It's more annoying, it is. So, I'm saying that, Leanne. So, anyway, as I say, I'm just reading comments. I have no idea what's going on there in the background, but you'll get my drift. If you were a YouTube creator and you were hearing this stuff all the time, you've got to take it to the fact, pros outweigh the cons. Is this worth my while? No. It's not worth it. That's just it. And do you know what? Some of the stuff I was doing, I really enjoy, which is quite sad about it. Some of the football ultras, I like doing the ultras video, and some of it was amazing. I mean, you've been watching my channel for a while now, and I was doing ultras from all over, and you know yourself how much I enjoyed it. So it's quite sad, really, for people that enjoyed it, that I've took that stance and I'm coming away from it now. But I'm sure I might do the odd thing in the future, but right now I'm concentrating my efforts in the one area, and you know what it is. So that's all that matters. I'm happy. I'm happy doing it, and that's the main thing. Pick one team to win the granny. Bulldogs. Just because I'm wearing the Guernsey, I'm just looking at them there, and that Terry's at the back of me. Bulldogs to freakishly win it somehow, out of nowhere. Revisit 2016, where they got into the top 8 out of absolutely fucking nowhere, and just went on a run and won it. Bulldogs. Brisbane. Well, Rob's a Blues man, and obviously the Blues aren't there, but he lives in Brisbane, so he's going for the team from his home place and supporting the local team, I suppose. Do you know what? They could do it. Any one of these teams could go and win it now. Anyone. Step up and play. Stand up and be counted. Well, this is it. Like, it's a success story if the Lions go and do it. Like, the Lions came from nowhere last year to now competing with the big boys at the top. And even if they don't get to the grand final, that's what a success story. It's a successful story it's been for them this year, from the journey they've been on to get there. And look, if they can get a couple more players, they're not going to go away anytime soon. Some quality players at that outfit. Seen a story, I think Caniglio, he was linked with Carlton there. He's now committed his future with a huge contract at the Giants. He's staying at the Giants. That's a huge blow for the Blues, because I was actually thinking if they get him, it could be a bit of an experienced player they need. Hodge, another one. Do you know what? They're just a good team. They're a really, really good team. I wouldn't want to come up against the Brisbane Lions. Look, I've said I think Richmond will beat them, and that's only based on the fact that I think when you watch them in the last game, Richmond proved that they have a little bit more quality. But turn up on the day, you can win. That's all that matters. You turn up and win, you're through. So, we'll see what happens. So, good luck anyway for the week. We're off for a week. If there's anybody that wants me to do a live stream on Sunday, let me know. I don't know what we're going to talk about too much. Maybe trades, like who's potentially going, leaving, staying, signing for new teams, whatever. We could talk about the week's chat of developing stories, etc. Maybe on Sunday. If you want me to do that, I'll do that. But there isn't a real slot for it. I have got a big game that I'm going to be watching on Sunday, so it would probably be an earlier stream if there is one on Sunday, because I'm going to be watching Rangers hammering the Beasts, the green and white smelly manky mob from the east end of the city. We're playing them on Sunday. Big game in Scotland, so I'm going to be watching that. The Teddy Bears, we are the people. Well, it's not putting me out. I mean, I can't go wrong with it. What was I going to say? I'm just laughing at that comment there. Aye, so I could do one. I could get a few stories of trades and that. What's going to be happening behind the scenes? Who's signing who? Possibly injuries, etc. There's a few comments going there. That's quite funny. There you go. And get yourselves a baseball cap if you can afford one. If you haven't already, I'll do a deal with you. Talk to me on social media. I'll possibly do you a deal. If you need a deal, we can sort that out, because I know there's a delivery charge. That's exclusive to Australia, because it's cheaper to post everywhere within the UK. Obviously, people that I'm posting to the UK, it's cheaper. But they're brilliant. Like, I can't sell them enough. I'm actually blown away at how good they were. I'll let you have your personal banter outside of this stream. I'm going to cut this live stream. Thanks very much for everyone again. I was going to leave earlier there, but I got talking again. So thanks very much everybody who joined in, for everybody who donated. Thanks very much. Greatly appreciated. And obviously the merchandise, which I just mentioned, check that out. And all of our other social media things. Talk to me on that if you're on that there. We are the people. Yes, we are. We're going to win Thursday and Sunday. Can't wait. Get to fuck yourself, son. Thanks very much, mate. Thanks for joining, Asterix and Tony. Cheers, everyone. Thanks again for everyone, and I'll talk soon. I probably will do a live stream on Sunday, because I enjoyed talking anyway. But I'll try and get a little bit more stuff wrote down that we can go through just for a little bit of chat. Thanks very much, Leanne. Love that comment. Love you all too. My AFL Don's channel community is really growing and I love it. Thanks again, everyone. Really, really good. And we're at the business end of this season. Thank you. See you soon. Goodbye.